Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest short-term rentals webinar. Today, we are going to be talking about leveraging TV technology to upsell services and promote your brand. And this webinar is coming to you in partnership with LG Business Solutions. My name's George Sell. I'm Editor-in-Chief at International Hospitality Media. We are the publisher of short-term rentals. And today I am sitting in for my colleague, Paul Stevens, who you probably all know from previous webinars. But don't worry, I've done a couple of these before, so you're in safe hands. Today's webinar is going to last an hour. We're going to have 45 to 50 minutes of conversation with our panelists. We'd like to make it as interactive as we can. So if you do have any questions, you can submit them using the Q&A function or the chat function in Zoom. Everybody who's registered for the webinar will be sent an email with a link to a recording of it in the next few days. Okay, let's meet our panelists. I'm going to ask them all to introduce themselves quickly, and we'll go from left to right as we see them on our screens. So first of all, Kathryn, welcome to you.
Thank you, George. I'm Kathryn Raimer, Senior Account Manager for LG, and I am primarily responsible for sales and business development of the Centric Stay product in the U.S. We're pleased to be here today and look forward to speaking with everyone.
Okay, thanks, Kathryn. Now, Travis, welcome to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Founder of the 100 Collection, which is a brand in the vacation rental space, overseeing some of the best-in-class vacation rental managers and properties all over North America and soon to be Central America, Caribbean. Also, a vacation rental manager for the last 15 years in Charlottesville, Virginia. Founder of a company called Stay Charlottesville, as well as a couple other tourism and hospitality-related groups.
Thank you, Travis. Next to you, Doug.
Hi, I'm Doug Strachota. I'm on the LG team in the product side. I assist Kat in kind of introducing the Centric Stay platform, onboarding partners, working through questions, helping develop the product to see how we can impact the short-term rental market.
Thanks, Doug. And last but not least, Stephen, welcome to you.
Thanks, George. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Stephen Potowski, CEO and founder of the Luxus Group. Launched the company 18 years ago, primarily in the vacation rental management space, and also a developer. So we do large-scale project with Four Seasons and other brands. And today is about our great technology in homes that we're trying to do some really cool things. So it's awesome to be here.
Thank you, Stephen. If you look in the chat, you'll be able to see the LinkedIn profiles for our panelists. So if you'd like to carry on the conversation with them after the session, then please do connect and carry on the discussion. Okay, let's move on. And I'd like to set the scene, Doug, by coming to you and asking you to introduce LG and talk about how the company is expanding into the short-term rentals and vacation rental sector.
Certainly. So LG is the LG that you're all thinking of. We're a huge global brand, mostly focused in consumer goods, anywhere from laundry machines to refrigerators and ovens. But the business that we're in is what we call our B2B business. It's a business solutions. It is a part of LG, which takes a lot of those consumer products and kind of creates a solution around those to allow other businesses to take those products and either install, use them for other methods. One method that we can all think of is kind of screens in an airport or signage. A lot of those TVs and digital displays are LG, and in order to use them as a signage monitor, as a menu, there needs to be software and unique support that allows those businesses to essentially to facilitate that business. So Kat and I are in the display division. We're part of the business solutions group, and yeah, we've taken what we've learned from hospitality in supporting a lot of hospitality partners and developing platforms, and we're bringing that as a platform to the short-term rental market. So, that's essentially, the reason why we're here. The reason, we're introducing one product called Centric Stay, and that product, is focused for that short-term rental business.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, Kat, let's move on to you. Doug has set the scene nicely there with the first mention of Procentric. Tell us a bit about the platform and how it can help to simplify property management as well as enhancing guest experience.
Okay, Procentric Stay essentially acts as a digital concierge for property managers. It can simplify the property management by allowing property managers to display important information. It can be anything from your property guidelines and safety information. The other thing that property managers can do is display videos and offer step-by-step operational guides. My background is in owning a concierge business. We also provided guest services for property management companies in Arizona. And one of the biggest things that was challenging for us was getting a lot of guest inquiries about how do I operate the dishwasher? How do I operate the hot tub? Even the TVs. So I think it's really, really helpful for property managers to include that information on the televisions so that their guests have access to it, and that can cut down on the amount of inquiries that they receive from their guests. The other thing that our platform can do, we have guest messaging capability, which I'll talk about as well. And we also have the ability for property managers to provide their guests with services and local area information. So in the old days, property managers used paper guidebooks. They had to go to individual properties to provide information, to update information. Now they can log into our management dashboard, update information immediately that can be conveyed to their guests. And in terms of the primary solutions that we provide, we do elevate that guest experience. The advantage of that is it's going to help you receive higher and better reviews. You can also accentuate the brand recognition on the TVs to drive more direct bookings, generate more revenue with service upsells, communicate those important guest reminders. And I think one of the biggest things that we provide is a combined solution where you're offering not only TV entertainment, but also all of the information that you want to convey to your guests.
Great. Thanks, Kathryn. Can you also tell us a bit more about the guest messaging tools, how they can save time, relay important information to the guests?
We offer two types of guest messaging on our platform. One is a pop-up message, and that can convey things like important reminders like trash day, or if you have a maintenance person coming by, a landscaper to inform your guests about that. Messaging can also be used for things like special greetings, and property managers can be creative as they want. Sometimes some of the property managers will put up services. Are you interested in a late checkout? Have you considered extending your stay? Or they might even want to tell their guests about information in the local area. If there's a local art fair, a farmer's market, a concert, that's a great way to use our guest messaging feature.
Okay, thanks, Kat. And finally, before we move back to Doug, can you describe some opportunities for driving direct bookings on the platform and upselling services?
There's a couple of ways to do it. One thing in terms of driving direct bookings on our TVs, property managers can display QR codes that actually can direct the guests back to their website. So they might want to offer a special promotion, a discount for the guests to rebook while they're in the property. So that's a great way to drive direct rebookings. In terms of service upsells, the property managers can create special service pages for upsells on the platform. And that can be anything from first-party services. So it could be the late checkouts, extended stays, mid-stay cleanings. Some property managers offer luggage storage. I'm in the southwest area of the US, so pool heat is another service that a lot of property managers will upsell to their guests as well. And so there's a lot of different ways to do it, but they can also promote third-party services. Because I've owned a concierge business, you're able to earn referral fees or commissions from different third-party service providers. And some of those are listed on this slide. So it can be anything from food delivery services, private chefs and bartending services, vacation photography. A lot of guests are interested, if they're bringing their families, to have, family memories and photos to bring home with them. Other things that they can promote would be baby equipment rental services and even mobile massage and salon treatment services. So I think it's really endless what property managers can provide to drive additional revenue and profitability. The other way to do it on the TV is to create some advertising partnerships with local businesses. So if they wanted to partner with local restaurant providers, golf courses, real estate agencies, or even activity providers, that's a great way to earn additional revenue through the televisions.
Thank you, Kat. Doug, let's come back to you. Can you explain how the complete solution, all of these different elements that we've heard about from Kat, how do they combine to strengthen brand recognition and drive guest loyalty?
Certainly. So the way we look at it is we provide again, I'll keep using the word platform, but we have a web tool, and it's a blank slate. You can, we're bringing up some examples of different styles that people have used to help promote their brand, their property. Every time you turn that TV on, it goes to your brand, your style, your presentation. You're not, opening an app or trying to direct people away from it. It is in your face every time the television comes on, and that is, kind of the I would say like a walled garden approach of trying to capture and maintain that guest and bring him the experience that you want him to have. Now, you certainly want to have access to television. They're turning on the television to watch TV or to have some entertainment. You want to make that very, very easy to navigate to. But once once you present that, you can provide a lot of information, endless amounts of links to certain features that you want to steer them towards, and certain offers. So that's kind of the basis for, why is the TV important? Why is it, what can you do with it? I think that's the biggest question is, once we present, here's all these opportunities, I really want to get those gears spinning in the user base to think about, well, I'm really good at, delivering groceries or helping stock the fridge. Why don't I promote that? Why don't I use that feature as one of the selling points to why my experience is better than the guy down the street or the house next door. And so this is really, allows endless possibilities, endless capabilities for property managers to really utilize their strengths and promote their strengths to their guests, all within the TV, which is usually going to be turned on sometime during the stay, if not one of the first things.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, we've heard a bit of theory. Let's talk about practice. I want to come to Travis and Stephen now, but before we go to the specifics of the LG platform, could you guys share a little bit about how you are strengthening brand recognition and driving guest loyalty amongst your customers in general, what your kind of strategies are, and then we'll drill down and talk specifically about the LG platform. Stephen, can I start with you, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is so exciting for us because we started 18 years ago, kind of our version 1.0 of the company. We acquired dozens of homes around the world, and we were really banking on uncertainty in the world. So uncertainty that comes to, this is pre-Airbnb days, Vrbo was the only platform out there. And when you book a vacation, you never really kind of knew what you're going to get. So we created a brand around certainty. And we believe certainty was like and we still believe, wholeheartedly, that people will flock to certainty when in the absence of other opportunities. So for us, we looked at things like bed linens and pillows and the bathroom setup and salon grade, grooming utensils for women and great kitchen setups and all these aspects that we could simply buy and create consistency and familiarity across the entire portfolio. So no matter where you went with a Luxus Vacation Properties property, whether you went to Italy, to Cabo, to Scottsdale, or the Caribbean, you know what type of sleep you're going to get. You know what the bathroom's going to be set up. We had playpens and booster seats. So our clients were really, built around the idea is that I save time, and by saving time, I know I'm going to get on the other side. The big issue we had, and the big gap we've had over all these almost 20 years now, was an electronic system, a system around the televisions. And I was always a fan of, from a guest experience, going to the hotel. The one thing I missed was being able to watch pre-release movies in the hotel, or it would have, you could do the early checkout or the checkouts, whatever it may be, and always wished that this opportunity would come. So fast forward 16 years in that journey, and we got a connection to LG about, hey, we're trying to build something for the short-term rental space that could solve this problem. From my lens, I was purely looking at it through a guest experience side. Is now the guests can walk in, they can see their name, there's this personalization, they can get access to live TV. It was really just kind of the basis of it. But if we had the same remote control and the same television in our TVs universally, we kind of solved that fourth pillar. So if we've got the sleep, the bathrooms, and the kitchens, the three main pillars, that fourth pillar can be solved. What I didn't really realize was the benefits around them from the PMC side is all the additional aspects that could be added in. So like we talked about the guest messaging, component. Our clients, want to know, did they miss garbage day? If they miss garbage day, then, we have to hire someone to come take the garbages out the next time, or they're overflowing. Like all these things kind of compound to improve or detract the guest experience. Concierge activities. We've always had a full scale in-house concierge team, both in our head office and locally on the ground. Now this can simplify the process. As people want things immediate, sometimes they don't want to wait through a weekend or, an evening to try to get access to maybe a restaurant reservation or a golf course tee time, or a special experience or tour. So now we can create these custom experiences, drive them through the technology platform. People have immediate access. They see it on their TV, which is they walk in, the TV's already on, they're feeling welcomed, and they're like, oh honey, like we should book this trip because we never had time before. So again, if we create certainty and save time, we think that creates guest loyalty. And for us, we were building a brand around this, that when people stay at our homes, they know what they're going to get. And I think the LG has done a great job. And we've had, it's been a blessing working with them because we've had a chance to see the various evolutions of the product stage. And as Doug and Kat said, it is a blank slate. There really is tremendous opportunity about where this could ultimately go as we fast forward years down the road. And we've been testing the properties, getting real-time feedback from our clients, what's worked, what's not worked. And to give LG kudos, a really, really big company. They've been very nimble and very responsive to the feedback, and they're turning these opportunities around to create both better guest experience and a better PMC experience. So we're thrilled about it, and we think it's going to absolutely solve this problem we've been dreaming about solving for almost 20 years now.
Thanks, Stephen. I know it's sort of fairly early days in the process, and you talk about being involved in the evolution here, but could you perhaps share some of the guest feedback that you've had so far since you've started rolling out this platform?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, number one thing from a guest, they don't really understand all the, the guest messaging and the PMC side as much and understand what that's going to be. For them, it's really about, I have a working TV. And I will say that because we've done 20,000 vacations this is over many, many years. The number one, I'd say, top three issue is just having a working TV and a working remote, because every property manager, or pardon me, every homeowner, especially in the rental space, has a different TV and a different remote. Some have a smart home remote, a universal remote, and all these different things. It gets complex. And the most calls we get on the weekend is because I can't get Dancing with the Stars on, something's wrong with your live TV. And it becomes a pretty big frustration from the guest experience side. And so when we look at it through that lens, it's like if we can have that kind of universal approach to the electronics, we can see it. So our initial guest feedback, to answer your question, is, oh my goodness, it's the same. This is if I go to a new property, I'm getting the same tool. And so immediately, they may not appreciate it in the moment because there's an expectation that television works. Unfortunately, televisions and these smart home systems in particular they're not universally easy for a renter to ultimately use. So to simplify that process has been probably the number one best guest feedback. We've heard lots when you come in and you see Mr. and Mrs. Jones on the TV. It's definitely a first impression. You can have your house clean, you can have the kitchen stocked with groceries, but when you see that welcome message, it immediately connects you to, I think, a luxury hotel and a nice hotel. And I think that's, as we're trying to compete, for guests, their bookings away from hotels and into our properties, it's one more barrier knocked down immediately, or people are like, oh, that's just cool. And that is something I've never seen in another spot before. So that's been the initial stuff. Obviously, the guest messaging stuff is evolving and things, and we're figuring out the best way to communicate with guests that they're responsive to. But I'd say there's those few things right out of the gate have created a really positive impact.
Thank you, Stephen. Travis, I'll come to you shortly for your experience, but I can see that Doug wanted to jump in on that point there.
Yeah, I just wanted to, highlight, Stephen's property is up there in the top right of the slide that you're showing, and the kind of the curated offer that he's speaking to is the watch TV button. When you come in, you may have a lot of apps. Nobody may know where the live linear TV is. And when you hit the live TV button, when you either go to the TV service or you launch YouTube TV or which one you're utilizing for your linear content, that comes up. That's a consistency that he's speaking about. So it's right there on the screen. That's what they've designed. It's kind of how they present it to their guests. And so I just wanted to capitalize on the fact that you can see his TV screen.
Sorry, one more thing to talk about, which is one more frustration when people log into a traditional smart TV. Everyone has all of their Amazon Prime and Disney Plus and Netflix preloaded in, and it's this hour-long process of signing out and signing in, and having, with the LG technology, allowing it to basically clear that at the end of every stay, and then you have you log into your Netflix account. Super, super convenient, and just a great thing to just, again, immediately solves time for that guest and creates limited frustration with trying to get the hockey game on or trying to stream their Netflix on. So one more neat touch. Sorry, Travis, you go ahead.
Yeah, Travis, please tell us a bit about what you guys are doing to strengthen your brand recognition, drive guest loyalty, and then sort of drill down into how the LG platform is helping that process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is something I think about every single day of my life in regards to building brands for the vacation rental space, especially as they begin to disappear due to, billions of dollars. And so I think probably one of the first things to know that I found amazing when we started working with LG as a 100 collection about a year and a half ago, 70% of all of Marriott Hotels, one of the largest brands in the US, has an LG TV that's doing this delivery of service for their guest and hyper localized. And in our world, in the vacation rental spaces, we fight to kind of professionalize to some degree the space. We did not have this as an opportunity. So, as far as I'm aware, still to this day, this is the very first cloud-based solution that you can have, X number of TVs in all of your properties and be able to deliver messages, brands, what have you. And so, often there's a lot of confusion, as we're aware, in the vacation rental space as to, these local vacation rental groups, the name of the group. Often sometimes somebody might book my property on Airbnb and have 10 different people in that property, and they all think they stayed in a really cool Airbnb in Charlottesville. It's my job, I see it as a vacation rental manager, to make sure that we get that guest from that platform onto ours, no different than Delta Airlines does that with Kayak, right? Delta, you go book a plane ticket on Kayak, they're going to put you in the back of the plane in the middle of the row or what have you, and they're going to encourage you to come as a better customer, a loyal customer. That doesn't really exist in this space. And so this is a really cool tool for us in the tool belt to be able to deliver who we are, if you will. And I heard Stephen talking a little bit about it. How great you can punch in a code, on a door, and you can have the TV pop on, and you can go deliver a commercial about your local brand, the local experience, what you like about the area or that particular property. And more importantly, no different than the hotel space, which I think is hilarious. The top two complaints in the hotel space are the Wi-Fi and the TV. And we all know that that's very true in the vacation rental space as well. Nothing's changed. And so you can have hyper local information about how that TV operates or how that property operates or the maintenance or the programming, and have people walk through videos to be able to alleviate some of your staff in regards to issues that they might have with the property or questions they might have to elevate the experience. And so I will say that the common denominator that I've seen in almost every vacation rental is that they all have a TV and the ability to be able to serve content from one chair, one computer, and be able to deliver it. This is a first for us. And I think it was pretty incredible too, because for those that don't know, in the US there's a fairly large conference called the Data and Revenue Management Conference that was just in some part of Florida, and they have a battleground every year and pretty strict criteria to get in. And then they have an innovation award. And so this was a technology that won that innovation award that got recognized by the vacation rental management community, at least, as being able to deliver hopefully some of that brand delivery as well, if you will.
Thanks, Travis. Doug, Kat, you kept that award fairly quiet. We'll move on, and I'll ask you about that shortly. Travis, can you share a little bit of your guest feedback to the platform and the kind of general impression you're getting from your customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll answer it in two different ways. As a guest to Marriott on a regular basis, and yes, I do love the vacation rental space, but I also do stay in a hotel room if I'm only there for a night, generally speaking, and I absolutely love being able to jump on that local TV that tells me about the hotel and what have you. And it's no different for our guests. It's you're automatically logged out of whoever else's apps were logged in upon departure, which I think is great. Like having those time-based stamps that I heard Stephen talking to, the fact that you can stream TV, you can honestly, I'm trying to think. I haven't heard a negative thing thus far. I mean, it's fairly incredible technology for the guests, and so it's definitely enhanced experience delivery by all means. It's much better than the old-fashioned notebook that we used to leave on the coffee table that would get dusty and coffee stained. TV hasn't gotten coffee stains yet.
There's time, don't worry. Thanks, Travis. Doug, let me come back to you. Is it too early in the rollout of this platform to assess what the potential ROI might be for the property managers who are adopting the technology?
Well, I don't think it's too early. I think the one element is, what do you really want to help promote? Brand, we've been talking a lot about brand, and I think that calculating ROI on brand is really difficult. How much am I getting or retaining? Is it because I have consistency in my linens and kitchen appliances, or is it because I'm presenting this TV? And that may be really a challenge to write down and calculate. But I think it's not too early to say, can we create some experiences, help the operational side. Travis talked about, operationally clearing the TV, making sure that the TV has a consistent experience every time you turn it on. That's one thing. Property managers, I'm sure, address a lot of calls of, it's on a different input. It's on HDMI 2 because a guest left with their laptop plugged in or brought their own, Fire Stick. And so those are the things that, this consistency and experience is going to help. And I think we can measure that. I think, it's pretty much up to each property manager to figure out what is their, top priority for utilizing this. Obviously, I think Stephen and Travis come from a very, marketing oriented approach, and they put brand number one. I think if somebody has this for operational efficiencies, that's a different return. But yeah, I think I would just put it out there. It's a great sales tactic. Where do you as a property manager want to benefit from the most, and can you imagine the TV helping you? If that's the possibility, then yes, let's work on a project and a platform, to get to get that out in front of your guests and on the screens.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Stephen, did you want to come in on that point?
Yeah, I'll just say, because I think from an ROI, from a property manager perspective, we've got a two outside of guest experience. So let's just assume a seamless guest experience that people get used to and familiar with because they just know that consistency exists. Is kind of two primary things. You mentioned earlier, I just want to reinforce it, is one is converting people, because Airbnb and VRBO will always be very important tools to bring clients to our properties. And we'll always use them, and it's going to continue to exist. When they come in, they see something different, and want to convert them for a direct booking. So I think number one, just from an ROI perspective, someone has a $10,000 a year travel pie. I want to keep as much of that $10,000 travel pie within the Luxus family as we can. And just one, to Travis's point, we've had the paper copies of the things forever. And how many people see them, read them, like you said, copy stain, property managers on the ground miss cleaning them up, and they're just not as visible. So think of number one there. So if we get a bigger chunk of the travel pie, that's a really key metric in the industry. And we'll, if we have 30 to 50% direct bookings and use the OTAs for the others and continue to try to convert those guests over time. And then we grow, and that's good for the OTAs and it's good for us. The second aspect, especially now, there's a lot of competition on pricing in the market as there's a lot of inventory. And so as you start to look at guest rates to be competitive, through the OTAs, even through our direct booking channels, you get people in. But from our perspective as well, people we know are spending a lot more money when they're on the ground. And if that can channel, and Kat referenced it earlier, if you can channel some of that through our strategic partnerships that exist on the ground with our experiences and collect some commissions through upsells. And by our job is to negotiate the best rate for the guest. If we have a group booking rate with X, Hawaii, catamaran tours, and these commissions are very common in the industry. And if we can collect some of those commissions, we can keep guest rates competitive, providing an enhanced experience and create more revenue for the brand. So from an ROI perspective, for property manager, I think the opportunities are endless as time moves on, because you're going to get a bigger chunk of that travel pie. And two, upsell just sounds like a dirty word, but at the end of the day, everyone's upselling themselves. You're on vacation, you're spending money, spend it through the experience providers that we have vetted, that we're going to take very good care of our people. And if we're able to collect a 5 or 10 or 3% commission on it, and that helps us keep guest rates competitive and more revenue for the brand, that's a good thing, because we can expand our brand and go forward from there. So tremendous opportunities that exist from an ROI perspective for PMCs.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Doug, we can see on the slide there some of the hardware involved in making this platform work. Can you talk us a little bit about the nuts and bolts here? So what are the TV and set-top box options? What types of TV can be used? What types of TV services are needed or optimal? And how does the software subscription model work?
Sure. So I guess answering that is a little of the, this is the most common or frequently asked question is, hey, I have an LG Smart TV. Can I just use it? Are we an app that goes on the TV? And unfortunately, that isn't the case. We cannot use our consumer TVs. Those are locked down in a way that prevent, any interaction, outside. And so for security reasons, we've developed a commercial platform, and that commercial platform is shown here. We have commercial or hospitality smart TVs. There's the premium version, which is the UM777. We have a standard 670, and we do have an OLED, which is ultra premium. But that's those are TVs that already have the firmware built in that allows our cloud tool to interact with it. We know that most people already have TVs in their property. They're not going to go off and say, all right, I got to reinvest in all my TVs. This isn't going to happen. So in that light, we've also have a set-top box. This is really more of a set back box, meaning it goes behind the TV. It kind of takes over that smart TV function. It connects to the Wi-Fi, and it has an HDMI output, which is pretty standard for connecting to any TV that any user might have. So that set-top box option is really the low-cost way of adapting or utilizing the hardware that you already have deployed within a property, because we know that it would be difficult to require anybody to spend a lot more money and replace all the TVs in their properties to utilize this solution.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the TVs, is there a minimum order that people need to?
There isn't a minimum order. We know that hotels buy them by the hundreds. Vacation rentals are going to buy them by the ones and twos. So we have a distribution partner that we can introduce you to, that you can buy a TV at a time or a set-top box at a time. The one part I didn't mention here, and I read it on the slide, is there is a software subscription. So there is a software element to this. Not only do you buy the piece of hardware, maybe a set-top box, but you also pay a monthly subscription fee, or you can buy it, kind of by the year. And that is intended to be a per property, not a per TV. So it's essentially, you design a project. You might have 3 or 4 TVs in the property, and you want that project, that experience, to be delivered to all those within a property. That's where our pricing is. So it's a nominal cost per month for the software subscription, and that includes all the management, design, and cloud-based operational performance that we deliver.
Yeah. Doug, what do you see is coming next for this platform? What's on the horizon in terms of collaborations, integrations, and so on to improve the guest experience?
So I think, when I look at this space, I see that, certainly, providing the brand and some sort of curated direction of what you want to deliver, the messaging, or the different, kind of, informative type of delivery of content. I really see that the guest experience is going to elevate within this space. I think that there are going to be PMS solutions and guest experience and customer relation management tools that are all going to look at the TV as an open or a blank slate, a clean canvas, if you will, to figure out how could I use the TV to help my guest experience. And I'm curating all this content. For right now, the property manager kind of has to know what content they want to put up, and they'll be in charge of that. I think the future of this business is the automation and the curation of that content and delivery of curated content to the TV, so that property managers they're just putting on this display, they're hooking up to different solutions, and those solutions are building content to deliver to their guests. So I see it as right now, it's property managers are in control. I think tomorrow it's going to be a guest experience company that's going to help bring that content to the guest.
Yeah. Has this platform been built with integration in mind? You mentioned PMS systems and other guest-facing tech. Is it going to be fairly easy to integrate with those, or is that a challenge?
So yeah, so we have an open API. So anybody who wants to integrate can access our open API, and they can send us check in, check out, guest name. We have some other expansions to that open API. It's not comprehensive at the moment, but it is built in that in the spirit of working with those integration companies. We've completed 2 integrations with PMS systems. One is with Guesty, so we're fully integrated with the Guesty solution, so you can connect the two and get the guest name, find the check-in, check-out, and as well as OwnerRes. So those are the 2 integrations that we have coming to market. We have an open API, so then that allows anybody to gain access and do the integration themselves. And then we see that the future for integrations will be probably more it'll certainly be PMS centric. We'll add more PMS companies as we go, but I think the reality is it's going to be kind of more kind of guest experience related.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Stephen, I want to come back to you for a bit. What do you think is next in guest-facing technology, specifically in the short-term rental space?
It's a good question. I don't have an answer for it. For me, I've said that I want pre-release movies. I want to have that. You can go on and you can watch Avatar before it's between the theaters and Netflix and Amazon. So that's my little ask in the future. And you charge the guest and you make a little cut, and LG makes a cut, however it works. But I just think that when you have a company like LG behind this, they're thinking 10 years in the future. For me, I'm trying to think, this next 2 to 3 years in the future. So I'm sure they probably have better insight in terms of what all the things that can happen. The Guesty integration is amazing. We work with Guesty, and just seeing already what's happened in this 1.5 year evolution. And I think just the hardware, I just want to validate that quickly for those listening, but we started with just TV hardware as the primary. Adding that set-top box was a big difference, because originally we owned all of our homes. So it would have been easy to integrate that into all the homes. But now as we manage other people's homes, exactly to the point that was the reference is, I have this TV and I don't want to buy a new $1,000 TV, and having that set-top box was a great innovation. So I get to see them continue to innovate throughout. And I think that when it comes down to the guest experience, and I think in particular for us, when you're a high touch service business like Travis and our companies are trying to build a brand, anything you can do that can make a more seamless experience for the guest and for our people saves money. And if we can save money, we can put more back into the business to make it bigger and better and a stronger foundation. So I look forward to seeing when they're thinking very, very long term on the strategy. They'll probably be bringing us the ideas. We may have been a good feedback loop for the first couple of years, but I think they're going to have some great ideas for us as we go forward.
Thanks, Stephen. Travis, you mentioned near the start of the session that you think about your guests, you think about the technology involved around the clock. It's on your mind a lot. What do you think is going to be the next development in guest-facing tech in the vacation rental sector?
I think it's a really interesting question. I think one of the things that already exists that's actually not highly utilized yet is using the photography that we all have, most of the vacation rental groups, or just vacation rental listings that we see have anywhere between 20 to 50 different properties. And you can easily plug those photos into AI and have them come alive and implement that. You can implement that into the TV. And so I actually think that's probably going to be one of the things that's most utilized in the future. Second would be more AI, then using photo algorithms to better deliver up to the various different guests. We see it a lot on Amazon. We see it on other platforms, making sure that they understand who the consumer is to be able to deliver the best. I think that we'll see there are some companies that are beginning to implement that now, but I do think that we'll see that more prolifically throughout the space in the coming years.
Thanks, Travis. Doug, you've probably got the inside skinny on this as much as anyone. What's your take on what's next in guest-facing tech?
Well, I certainly think that generative AI, Travis mentioned it, and I think that every conference that I've been to last year, which was quite a few, there's a lot of people talking about the advantages of AI, and I think that from the time-saving aspect of property managers, I mean, nobody wants to sit and create content and create listings and do all these. They just want to kind of deliver material and have it done for them. And I think that that AI is going to be very helpful in assisting in that regard. So that's kind of the one thing. Yeah, that's where I think tech's going.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on something that Doug's saying in regards to like delivering content and take ourselves out of this space for a quick minute. If you think about one of the most utilized tools within media right now, which is social media, and that would be Instagram. No longer are people paying attention to photography. They're all doing reels, they're all doing video content. And so you're going to see a higher utilization of that video content probably also within this space. And that's also one of the things that I failed to mention in regards to kind of this platform is like, as you're creating these great reels, like what a great delivery mechanism as you see the performance on different platforms and engagement, how you can utilize that same video and then go push it back over here and have a fairly high res video that's promoting your actual brand to best serve you.
Thanks, Travis.
I'll just add one thing on that, George. I think it's this AI thing. It really is the future in so many ways. And for us, where people are part of our loyalty program, we have a loyalty program built into Luxus, we get a lot of guest data and really understand the types of experiences that they're looking for when they're traveling with Luxus. So just to piggyback again one more time, as we think about the future, we have this massive database of assets and photographies and videos and various things. If they could pull this from Guesty or from whatever data center, what this client really likes, let's just say that they own a ski property, they're never going to travel to a Luxus ski property. It can pull all of our beach properties together, automatically knowing, versus us creating a custom video for everyone and trying to remember the connector point. It can pull it. So fast forward a few years, and if Joe Smith's traveling and we know that they're a big beach spender at Luxus, and we've got 20 new beach properties around the world, and if the video that plays when you walk into the property versus the static image is all the great Luxus beach properties around the world. And now it's really connecting with that consumer on an intimate level versus just the standard reels that you show up to a Marriott or anyone else that shows their portfolio globally. And not that there's anything wrong with that. That's what we have to work with today. But if we think about what the future could be, that would be something pretty special. That it really gets personalized to the individual if you have the data. If they come from an OTA, you won't have that information. It's a bit more generic. But if you have the guest data and that guest wants to see stuff personalized to them, that I think is a great opportunity to pull from, all these assets we have and create a custom, 120-second loop of a video that's going to mean something to them versus just going to ski properties, which they may never go to. So I just would beat the horse, but it was, I think there's a really incredible future in the AI side and personalization. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you, Stephen. Doug, a two-part question for you, and then we'll get on to questions from the audience. So LG is obviously a global company, a multinational company, and as well as televisions, it manufactures all kinds of different electronic products. So firstly, this Pro-Centric solution, as I understand it at the moment, is only available in the US. So what are your plans for potentially rolling that out globally? So,
I mean, it is available globally. I'll just either announce it now, or if it's unknown, we can go ahead and talk about it. We have some trials that are going on in the UK. We have a European team that's selling it, as well as we have folks obviously in Asia and around Korea that are looking at this as well. So when you first sign into the platform, it asks you what region you're in. But Kat and I are focused on kind of the North America region specifically, and so that's maybe where you got that information. I missed the second part. I think I was ready to answer the first part.
Yeah, I didn't get around to the second part. Sorry.
Okay.
Apologies for
Good.
the misunderstanding there.
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
Are
It's
there
good to announce.
any other imminent tech advances which could specifically be applied to the vacation rental sector that LG is working on? Other smart home technologies?
None that that I can speak of right now. I want to say that we do have an eye focused on, kind of smart home IoT. We have platforms that are, we can control, kind of fans, turn the oven on and off, and control appliances. So that is an obvious, next step and next venture is to look at, other devices within the home, and add them to the platform. We have a smart automation home platform called ThinQ or Think, depending on how you look at the word, but it's that can easily migrate into the short-term rental space.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Kat, did you want to come in on that point?
I just wanted to mention on the slide that's up that we do have casting to TV coming in the near future. We're hopeful that will be introduced this year. And then in terms of in-home technologies, we do have EV charging. It hasn't yet been introduced to the vacation rental market, but I suspect that will happen in the future as well.
Okay, thanks, Kat. Right, we've got some audience questions here. I'm going to lob them at either Doug or Kat. You can decide between yourselves who answers them. The first one actually came in during the week via email, and it's from Tony from Royal Suites in Split in Croatia. He says, we've always been struggling with TV systems for years. TVs are always an issue for the guests. We need a TV that has international channels and can be operated with one simple remote control. That's what guests need. That is it. Now, you kind of alluded to this earlier, Doug, but I'm guessing that's pretty much what you offer.
Well, we offer the single remote control, kind of the single experience. When we get into content, that's something that LG is really not participating in. All the content is going to come from your television services. So, like, in the US here we have YouTube TV, we have Hulu, we have DirecTV Stream. So, whether or not those services contain international content, and whether you can bridge that content, that's a much larger challenge than, and LG doesn't participate in that. But certainly the one remote control, the one interface, the kind of the walled garden experience is our intended focus.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Okay, next question from Sheena Whedon. Doug, can you share about the control that property managers have of the TVs remotely and the data that they can see on how guests are using the TV, i.e. how many hours they're using different streaming services?
Thanks, Sheena. This is a good plant. But yeah, you can do some certain things from our portal to turn the TV on and off. You can look at some data that's feeding back. It's, what apps within the TV that your guests are using. So you can see, our guests using Netflix more than YouTube, or you can kind of look at some of that data. But you do have full control. You can do a software update and reboot the TV, turn it on and off, and that's all available through our dashboard and our management portal.
Okay, and two questions here from Tom Mundy. The first one, is it interactive? Can the set-top box go through a cable box or other streaming device like Roku or Fire Stick?
So I saw Tom's question. The way I would answer this is that the TV or the app doesn't go through anything. Everything else comes to us. And so if you think about the TV, just on the block diagram, it's kind of the lowest level. It's the set-top box plugs into it, your Roku plugs into it, and then what you get from the TV is that you can create a menu or a button on screen that says, all right, I don't want to watch the cable box. And then it switches to that cable box, input. I want to watch the Roku, or a different streaming device. We have some streaming apps, but some that we don't. You may want to put through a different a streaming stick or a smart device. So you can create that, kind of direction. Again, walled garden, I'll say it again, but you got to create the interface that the guest uses to always manage those other inputs, so we don't go through other things. The other things come through us. Is how I'd answer that one.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Doug. And finally, you kind of touched on this in an earlier answer, but Tom also asked, does it provide analytics as to which pages or sections are being looked at? And
yeah, we have static, we have analytics on the apps. We don't have analytics on the pages. So if you design like, how to use the coffee maker and how to use the hot tub type of page, we couldn't tell you what, but we've taken that down as input for, improved features, for the solution.
Okay. And Tom's just put another question in. I think this is a hot lead for you here, Doug. Can it be put on a smaller TV to be used just as a guide?
Yes. I mean, you don't have to have a TV service. You can hook it up to whatever TV and you can design whatever you want to present. I mean, some people want to use this maybe as just a, for the housekeeping. Every time housekeeping comes in, the TV comes on and gives them instructions. I mean, you can kind of utilize this however you want to. It doesn't have to have a TV service and other things. You can just design a page that is guide related, information related. So yes.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Right, we've come to the end of the hour pretty much. We are going to leave the session open for a couple of minutes. So if you want to carry on the conversation in the chat for a couple of minutes, you can, or take some notes from the information that's been pasted in there. I'd like to thank Doug and Kat and LG for partnering with us for the webinar. Thanks to Stephen and Travis also for their input. It's been a really interesting conversation today. We're going to show a couple more slides before we wrap up. Our next short-term rental webinar is on the 11th of March at 4 p.m. GMT, and it's about catapulting communication to the next level. Intriguing title there. My colleague Paul will be back in the hot seat for that one. And if you'd like to register for that, you can see the link in the chat. We have just extended the entry deadline for the Shorties Awards until Wednesday, the 19th of February. So if you are still working on yours, you've got a bit of extra time, but don't miss this deadline because there won't be another extension. And we look forward to seeing lots of you there. The link to submit your entries is also in the chat. If you'd like to work with us at Short-Term Rentals on any of our digital channels or our in-person events, then please get in touch with my colleague Sam, who you can see on the screen there. His contact details are also in the chat. And finally, thank you again. Thanks to you all for watching. Thanks to LG for their partnership. Thanks to Kathryn, to Doug, to Stephen, and to Travis for their contributions to the webinar today. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and I'll see you on another webinar soon. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Hello, we are International Hospitality Media, or IHM for short. IHM is the #1 brand to engage with decision makers in hospitality and real estate. Our 4 multimedia brands lead their respective sectors with breaking news, comments, trends, and opinions across a variety of multimedia solutions. We provide an inspirational community to connect people through world-class events, webinars, podcasts, award schemes, and much more. But let us share our story of who we are and what we do. Over 10 years ago, Piers and George had a light bulb moment to provide expert opinion, comments, and low-cost digital content. And so, they went on a journey over the past decade, creating media platforms to serve the hospitality and real estate industries. We now have an engaged audience with a reach of over 60,000 monthly visitors across our website, 52,500 in our email database across all sectors, and over 68,000 across our social channels. Everything we do challenges the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We make things simple and very easy to work with us, and we're a friendly bunch too. We offer creative solutions to help you achieve your business goals. Read, watch, listen, and meet with IHM. Connect with us for a chat today. Just look at some of the brands we have worked with recently.